Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from my face, my outfit, and my hair, I am doing something completely different today. I want to start doing historically accurate makeup looks, but with modern techniques that we can use, and showing you guys my take on them, and also just kind of giving you some fun information in between. If you know anything about me in my personal life, you know that I had to start with the 60s. Oh, I had to. You have to remember that in the 50s, it was right after the war and people were getting used to luxury and all of these different things, and then makeup in that era was completely different than just 10 years later in the 60s. The 60s were the baby boomers, so for the first time in America there was more teenagers than there were adults, and these teenagers did not want to be like their parents. If you guys want to see the looks and makeup techniques that came out of that revolutionary era, then just keep on watching. So to start in on this, I haven't done a thing to my face yet. I usually come on here with my brows, but I wanted to show you the whole effect, the whole shebang. So in the 60s for brows, a lot of people just used powder, which I am going to do, but first I wanted to outline my brows just to give good structure, and you won't even be able to tell I did this. It's kind of just for my benefit. To outline them, I'm going to use Precisely My Brow from Benefit. I absolutely love this pencil. I'm going to go in with shade 3, which I usually just use in the beginning part of my eyebrows because it's a little light for me. Besides them using powder in the 60s, I couldn't find too much on how they did their eyebrows. I saw a lot of super thin eyebrows and also a really natural thick brows. But overall, the shape had changed from the 50s where they had a really high arch. This was more of a natural shape. So I'm just gonna go over my eyebrows the way I normally do and go with a nice soft shape. First of all, I'm gonna zoom you guys in. Okay, so of course I'm just gonna give them a really good brush out and just loosely put them into place. Just doing really feather light strokes. Then I usually just take my spoolie and kind of clean that up. Now that I have my eyebrows outlined pretty good, I mean, I'm happy with them for what I'm doing right now. Just remember that your eyebrows are definitely sisters and not twins. I have literally spent so much time just sitting there trying to get my eyebrows symmetrical and perfect, and it was such a waste of my time. I'm not gonna lie. Props to those girls that can do that. In my opinion, I just feel like it's so maddening. You can drive yourself crazy trying to do things like that, or your winged liner, you know, etc. Anyway, after that little brow pep talk, I'm gonna be using the e.l.f. Brow Kit. This comes with like a gel, but I'm just going to be using the powder in it. I'm also going to be using my Benefit eyebrow brush to do this. It's super thin, teeny tiny. You can even use this for eyeliner, but it has a fabulous spoolie on the end. You can bend it and such, but it feels such higher quality than the other ones that I've tried. I'm barely just filling in the front of these. Hardly at all. As far as eye makeup goes, in the 60s, that is what it was all about, girl. They totally underplayed the rest of the face and then went ham on the eyes. I wasn't expecting, I guess, how heavy they actually had their makeup in the 60s on their eyes, but once I did my research and interviewed a few of my friends and family members, I realized that they wore much more eye makeup than we even do today. And this was on a daily basis too. So you definitely want to go in with an eye primer. I'm actually going to be going in with a concealer so I cancel out absolutely everything. Once I have that all laid down, I'm going to be using some Milani Eye Primer. I've been doing this over the top of my concealer lately and have been loving it. It makes my eyeshadow way more vibrant and it lasts better. This is such a great eye primer, but I still do like to use concealer to make sure everything's canceled, especially with this look. Just going in with my fingers to blend this out. You guys, please excuse my nails. They are completely grown out and I have not had a chance to go to the salon and fix them. You literally need like the teeniest amount of this. I'm gonna use about that much for both of my eyes, so I'm just gonna drag that and put it over here. It goes such a long way. Once you start to feel that dry down and get tacky, you want to set it before it creases, and that's pretty damn quick, at least in my case. The eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be using today, I'm pretty sure this is the only one that I'm going to need. It's the Matte Palette by Carity. This is such a good palette. To do that, I'm going to be using my Royal and Langnickel Angled Precision Brush. The look that I decided to go with is more of like a toned down version of the mod look, and it's a winged cat eyeliner. And the reason that I'm having trouble describing it, I guess, is because I interviewed several people when I was making this video that were in the 60s. They did their makeup in the 60s, and I took little bits and pieces from what they told me and created a look of my own. The best way for you guys to know what the hell I'm talking about is just to show you. The first thing that I'm going to do is take this deep dark brown shade, and I'm going to be putting this in the crease all the way from the front to here and kind of flicking it out like a wing, but not as drastic and as harsh. I'm using the Morphe M412 for this. It comes to a really nice point and it's perfect for crease work. I'm going to go above where my natural crease is because I have hooded eyes, and I'm going to start in the middle, and that's where it's going to probably be the harshest, and then blend out where I need to from there. If you're kind of trying to figure out where you want to put your flick, just go for the end of your eyebrow. That's usually pretty good placement. I was told when people would like go out on the town and things like that, that this would sometimes be black, but most of the time people would just put brown in their crease. Then after that, I'm going to go in with my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. We're going to be putting this on the lid and really carving this out. Don't worry about blending as much as we do nowadays because they really didn't do too much blending like we do now and give ourselves carpal tunnel. I'm just going to get the product on here to start out with, and then go in with a concealer brush and really carve it out. Put a little bit at the edges too so you can really get that wing carved out. As far as shape goes, just make it into a really nice round shape. When I get to my wing, I kind of dip down in my eye just like I did right there. It gives it more of a dramatic effect. For my lid color, I'm going to be using a super pretty teal shade out of this palette. It's really bright, just screams 60s to me. Because I have hooded eyes, I'm going to be going in with a detailing brush for this. It's the Morphe G19. This is a super amazing brush because even though it's a detailer, it's still fluffy. At first, you want to pat this on to really get color payoff because you want this super bright and vivid. Obviously, most people would want to use a packer brush. That is completely fine, but I love using this kind of brush for doing this. Now I'm going in here with the point of this brush and really just making things chiseled to a T, girl. Don't mind Fred over here. He's just, you know, hanging out, being hideous. When I got to the corner, I decided to just kind of go along with the wing shape, but very slightly flick it and blend it out. And there you go, a cut crease to kill. Now I'm going to be going in with some liquid black liner. I'm using my very favorite, and it is the Physicians Formula liquid liner in Ultra Black. For this, you want to correlate it with the wing you made in the crease. Obviously, you don't have to do it as dramatic as I did, but I'm going to go all out because dramatic was the name of the game for eyes in the 60s. They did a very thick black liner, so that's what I'm going to be going for. I'm not going to do it as thin as I usually do. Sometimes they would even make these meet up into a triangle, but I'm not going to be doing that today. I think it would be a little overkill. And then I'm going to take this all the way into the inner corner, thinning it out as I go. I just want to take a second to talk about lashes in the 60s. I forgot to light my candles. As I was saying, lashes in the 60s were such a big deal. Like, people would usually wear lashes every day, but at least while they were going out on the town at night. Some people would double up their lashes, but they were always super thick and dramatic most of the time when they were wearing them. They didn't have, you know, the simple thin bands that you can find now that are flexible and comfortable. Before we put on lashes, we gotta do mascara, and I'm gonna be using the Colossal Big Shot from Maybelline. The lashes that I'm going to be using today are actually from Morphe. I don't use their lashes very often, but these ones separated in such a fine way while still being super dramatic that it just made me think of the 60s. These are a number 38 black. I'm going to go apply these off camera real quick, but if you guys are interested in seeing how I like to do my eyelashes, I do have a how-to and guide on eyelashes. I will link it below. Be right back. Okay, so lashes are on, and I'm really happy with the way they turned out, actually. I didn't think I would like these ones this much. I did add a little bit of mascara just to make them even more crazy voluminous, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. For face makeup in the 60s, this is probably going to be one of the easiest face makeup techniques that I've ever done on my channel, because they made everything not stand out on their face on purpose, so their eyes were just such a focal point. Everything was very matte and flat, and there wasn't, you know, much color even on lipstick. So what I'm going to do is go in with a primer, and it's the Stay Matte by Rimmel London. This is a really great primer. I honestly do not have too much experience in the whole matte world of makeup because my skin is so dry, but out of all of the matte primers that I've tried, this is one of my favorites for my dry skin. This primer has like a really thick consistency, and then it almost feels like a lotion, which is kind of weird for a matte primer. I'm going to be using two different foundations. I know, shocker, shocker. The ones I'm going to be using today are from L'Oreal, one in Pro Matte and the other in Total Coverage. I'm kind of just going to mix these pretty evenly, and I don't know, I just like mixing this Total Coverage with both Pro Glow and Pro Matte. When I do use it, it just turns out way more flawless that way. God, I'm almost out of this finally. This has lasted me forever for how much I use it. I'm actually going to be using a brush today to blend in my foundation instead of a beauty blender. This is the Morphe G1. This is a fabulous foundation brush. I got it in the Morphe Me that I'm subscribed to every month. They have been totally surprising me every month with brushes, and I absolutely love it. It's totally tied between that and my Ipsy bag. It's just fabulous. I have such a hard time picking out brushes for myself. This is also just a tad bit too pale for me right now because I do have a little bit of a fake tan. But of course I'm doing that on purpose, just to add more of like the flat appeal instead of it being natural and skin-like. From what I could research about coverage in the 60s, they did like a full coverage so that their skin looked perfected, almost to a cakey appearance, honestly. But at the same time, I thought that was curious because the ideal body type and face was they were trying to look younger. You know, it was during the baby boom, and teenagers really ruled. Like, there was so many of them. It was the first time in our history where teenagers had a bigger population than adults did. For concealer, I am going to be using Shape Tape, but I'm going to be using such a small amount just to get rid of my dark circles. And I'm also going to be using another brush from the collection I was just talking about. This is the G38, and this is more for like contouring. I did get a brush that was really nice for concealer, but this is really dense and small, and since I'm going to be using literally one dot and just underneath my eyes, I thought that it would be perfect. Actually, I think I am going to use a little bit on my nose. This brush is so good for concealer. I haven't used this one before, honestly, compared to the other one, and I think I like this one better. Oh, that even looks really good on my nose because of this brush, too. Usually I can't get a brush near my nose without it patching out. For powder, I thought it would be super appropriate to use the Airspun powder, and I'm just going to be using the velour puff that this comes with. I'm really gonna load this puff up and just really matte out my face. I hate the way this powder smells. It's lucky it's beautiful. Most of the time, that would be it. Like, that would be it. And people, a lot of the time, would take foundation over their lips and use that as a lipstick because they just completely wanted to cancel out all color on their face to make their eyes stand out that much. For this type of look, if people did use blush, it would be a very light, neutral pink kind of blush, or even just neutral. The lower lash line was a very eccentric and overdone, fun kind of place. I'm going to be showing you how I would personally draw on fake lower lashes. Sometimes they would even add, you know, actual false lower lashes to the lower lash line, but I'm just going to be classically drawing them on with a liquid liner. I'm going to be going in with a Maybelline just plain white eye pencil, and I'm going to be lowering down my lower lash line. I'm going to take it all the way into the inner corner too, and then just draw over my lashes. I'm just going to be using the same liquid liner that I used for my wing. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little quieter possibly because my daughter's asleep right now, and yeah. Instead of doing one solid line, I'm going to be doing almost just little lines that don't connect, and that's going to make it not look as harsh. Then when I get to the inner corner, I'm going to be doing a V. When you're drawing on your lower lashes, start above where we just drew on those little dots. All I'm doing is making the angles start this way and then slowly, gradually go into the other direction. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Like I was saying in my intro, I want to start doing different eras, so if you guys have a suggestion of which one that you want to see next, please leave it in the comments, because obviously I was going to start out with this one, but I don't really know where I'm going to go from here. I love you guys so much, and I hope everybody has a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.